Welcome back to Farrello Realty and to our channel Building a House in El Salvador Virtually. My name is Carlos and my partner Lynn, who is away again for this occasion, would like to show you what's going on with the project down in El Salvador. So let's get to it. So a lot of things have developed over the past few weeks. As you can see, the terracing is still ongoing in some of the areas. If you have been watching our channel, our blogs, you would notice that the area in which this compactor or the roller it's working on, it's where the workers' shed used to be. So there was a fairly sizable, tin shed where they would store a lot of their equipment, a lot of the building materials to keep them away from the elements, as well as the small crew of them, approximately 4 or 5, would actually stay the night over the week. And then, of course, on the weekends, they all go home. So that's what it used to be. So the terracing is still ongoing. This is the second part of what it's going to be, the front yard, where the garden's going to be and all that good stuff. Okay, so we want to make sure that all of that fill that you see in this segment needs to be compacted quite a bit, because after all, it's new soil, right? That had to be brought in order to create the terracing effect. So the next thing is the gentleman here working on the soffit, and we'll get back to that. Okay. Again, my apologies, or our apologies, with how the video was shot. But that's what we get from the builder down there every day. Okay, so here we go. This is where the compactor was working earlier on. Okay, all of this has been worked on recently. Okay, you get a better perspective of what the front of the house, okay, the area where the front yard basically is going to be. It's starting to look like. So it's starting to take shape. As well, the builder tells us that he is likely going to require about another 5 or 6 more loads of soil. Okay, as you can see right here, all of this is brand new soil. So he's requesting likely 6 more. And if I know him, and I think I'm really getting to know him really well now, yeah, it's going to be 6, probably 7. Okay, so we go back into the house. Here he's showing us what it's going to be the social bathroom. Okay, so the tile has been placed. Okay, or it's starting to anyway. He's got the front wall pretty much done, and then he is working on the counter. Now we decided to go with the ceramic tiles for the top, the top counter, and this is where the sink is going to be as well. We decided to do this as opposed to having granite or even quartz being placed on, because, well, we felt that we wanted to give it a bit more of a rustic feel, with a little bit of new but more rustic. Okay, that goes with the theme of El Salvador. So ceramic tiles, were bought. Okay, here you go. So again, we're back on what's going to be the front yard. This area right here where you're looking at, okay, yeah, that's where they used to have their shed. Okay, so that's all been taken out, obviously, and now the crew that was actually, or that is staying over the weeknight, They moved into a couple of the rooms inside, so they're still out of the elements, which is good to go. Okay, the builder shows us here how the terracing is still coming along. Okay, now remember that all that you're seeing here, including the right in the and at the far end, that's the main terrace. Okay, right beside the where the porch is at this time. All of this is filled, and you're looking at approximately, I don't know, like, I mean, this is like 6 meters, okay, that has been terraced, and a lot of that, most of that is, if not all, it's filled, okay, that had to be brought in. In total, as we have it today, we have required approximately 74 loads of soil to have this result. Again, there's another 6 or 7 loads coming up, okay, but it's almost done, or so, you know, assures us the builder. But it is taking place. This area right here is where the carport is going to be, the parking area, okay, according to our, you know, vision. This is where we want it, right about here. Now, as we go, and with any other construction anywhere in the world, things change as well, and things need to be adjusted, right? For example, this right here, this part of the terrace on the right hand side, I don't like how steep that wall is, in fact. And the reason why I'm not too keen on that sort of steep slope, not the one that you're looking at, but the one on the right hand side, okay? It's because in El Salvador, during the rainy season, it rains pretty hard, pretty aggressive, and so when you have a slope with that sort of gradient, you know, you're looking into creating other issues with erosion. So we'll talk about that later on, and I'm sure that we're going to be seeing more of that in upcoming videos, but for now I wanted to show you that, okay? And so that's something that's going to be worked on. It is one of the points which we need to communicate to the builder regarding fixing this slope right here, okay? Okay, so that's what it's at right there. So all of this area will have grass. So yeah, grass will be planted specifically in that area because of, you know, to avoid erosion, right? And so yeah, we're gonna have to deal with that as, you know, as time goes by, I'm pretty sure. So the main road, okay, on the left you can see the columns where the front fence are being still worked on, but here you have the backhoe, the excavator, basically leveling the main road, okay? This gentleman is the electrician. Actually, he's the electrician's number 2. He's the apprentice, okay? But he also works as a, what they call it, mechanic in El Salvador. So at this point, he's fixing, I do believe it's the flashing that goes on top of the soffit, okay? You saw it right there. Oh, it's a little fast here. Okay, that shiny metal, that's what he's basically attaching on top of the soffit, okay? Now with the soffit, okay, it's finished, okay? The eaves have been installed as well on the inside of the soffit, obviously, okay? Unfortunately, he didn't really take any videos of the installation of how they did that. What we're hoping for is that they did it right. And according to, all of the examples that we sent him, the builder, regarding to what we wanted. So later on in the video, I'll show you exactly, what we sort of, we're looking at. Okay, so we're back in the social bathroom. As you can see, the counter where the sink is going to be is finished regarding installing the ceramic tiles. Now, there's still a lot more to do here. Okay, this is just the rough product at this point. No grouting has been done yet. In fact, in this video, he was sending it to me. It's just to show us what's starting to look like. Okay, now that the tiles have been installed. However, they didn't have the proper grout color for it. So that's coming up. Okay, a frontal view of the front of the house, of course. The main terrace or the front yard is taking shape, as you can see. And the gentlemen here are working on the rebar, which are going to take part or be part, of the columns coming up on the front fence. So I wanted to show you this, include this, because as I explained before on a previous video, this is a way of us communicating with the builder. Here, basically, this is the drawing, the plans of what the carport, how we envision it to look like. Okay, and then of course an overview of the entire property. Here you go. So the road is to the left, of course, and then the not so perfect square or rectangle is the area of the property. Okay, so we have to communicate this with him, explaining exactly the dimensions that we want or we would like to have, okay, according to our plans, to make sure that he understands exactly, right? And because one of the things about doing this type of projects, from living in a different country and doing it virtually, is that you definitely have to make sure that the builder understands every single detail of the planning. So having said that, and as we were just looking at the method of communication with him, okay, on this video, he's now confirming to us, and showing us that the measurements do coincide with what is, on the plans. Okay, so this is pretty good, because it tells us that he understands, he can see, or he gets our concerns, regarding space measurements and all that, and the type of build, right? So that's pretty good. So this is the very left corner, okay, of the property. So right up to that point, from the main gate, left side, we actually have about 11 and a half meters. So over here, he's showing, what he's communicating is that, okay, so this is how much room we are going to have in order to build a carport. Okay, so the platform would kind of come up right up to there, and I do believe that he was giving us just over 9 meters in width. However, he wants to push it slightly forward, as he's pointing on that measuring tape. Okay, to go basically about another, it looks like, about another meter from the edge of that mount. Okay, and so here he's ensuring that, again, the measurements coincide with what we are looking at here in Canada when we're looking at our drawings. Okay, and so that if there are any adjustments, well, we still have time, right, to adjust, to change things. And as we've been going in the process of this particular construction project, yes, there has been a few changes, and we basically had to do them on the fly. And the beauty about building in El Salvador is that you can do that, especially when you're building the structure of the house. I mean, now the changes did not really affect the main structure. It was just, for the most part, small changes. Okay, so here you go, and this is where we wanted to ensure, right, that he adheres to the measurements on how we want the overall look of the outside area. So there you go. To the left, you can barely see the hole where the septic tank it's located, right there. So you have your two compartments, okay, and that's pretty much the location. Now it's taking shape slowly. It has been a little bit slow at times, but there are so many factors that you have to take into account. Rain is a main one, okay, because once it starts raining, well, you have to kind of slow down. Okay, again, communicating to him some of our views on what the kitchen it's going to look like. Okay, so in the previous video, we actually attached the carpenter's renderings of his 3D model on what we kind of asked him, and so here it is. Okay, and so with that in mind, we wanted to ensure that the builder himself, never mind the carpenter, so the carpenter is the one building the actual cabinets, right? However, for us, it is important that the builder himself also knows 100% what's going on, obviously, where things are going to be placed, and most importantly, measurements, because we want to do this once and we want to do it right. Now, the chances that something may not result in exactly in how we wanted it as the end result, there's a good chance of that. There's going to be a minor thing likely that it's going to need adjusting. Okay, we are just hoping that it's not going to be in the interior of the house. Okay, so here you go. So far so good. He understands measurements, he understands the space and the overall look that we desire as an end result. Okay, here you go. Outside of the house is taking shape. Okay, soffits. The soffit has been installed, almost finished. Still needs a little bit of tweaking, and definitely they are going to purchase with some sort of a synthetic compound to make it even more waterproof. Okay, and then of course paint it. So there's still a bit of work required. The gentleman here is working, putting the last touches on the columns, the frontal columns where the fence is going to be. Okay, here you go, a good look of the soffit. Okay, and then of course the shed, it's almost done right there. Roof, the gutter, actually it has been placed. Now on the right hand side, this is what we envision exactly as the shed. You look at the shed. Okay, the soffit, well, there was no, we weren't really looking at installing a soffit like quite this complex, to be honest. Okay, we wanted basically what you saw right here on the shed. as long as we actually had that space, okay, which is one thing that a lot of houses in El Salvador don't have. So there you have it. However, so getting back to the soffit, so the builder came up with his own idea to build this type of soffit, and of course, install the eaves on the inside so that they would not be visible to the eye. It's a little bit more concealed, hence giving it a bit more of an aesthetic, pleasing look to it. So that was his own idea, and you know what? We gotta say, we're actually pretty pleased on how it looks. So good on him. He used his initiative, and we definitely appreciate that. So here is the fireplace. Okay, all the drywall is ready to be placed. That's gonna go on the ceiling. Okay, and then of course, all the extra material is away from the elements now, because as explained before, the gentlemen are now staying inside at the rooms as overnight during the week, which we're fine with it, of course. Okay, here you go, back to the social bathroom. Okay, and the gentleman is working again on Lynn's favorite design when it comes to tiling, herringbone. and I'm sure the gentleman who is in charge of doing the ceramic tiling is having a great time doing this. But he's doing it really well, and you know what, we're really pleased with it. Again, one of the reasons why we decided to go with ceramic tiles as opposed to putting or installing quartz or marble sheets in there, it's because we wanted to do a little bit different. And on top of that, and I think it's the one that really most important fact is that they're cheaper, the tiles. Okay, and that was one thing that we definitely appreciate about El Salvador regarding building materials, is that they the cost of materials is way lower than what we would look here in Canada. Okay, back outside, this is the gentleman who is actually doing the tiling. Okay, and that's the social bathroom. Okay, it's coming up. He's got most of it in place. Okay, it's a lot of work. We understand that. This takes time, and as we told the builder, we do it right, do it once. Okay, and if he has any questions, we're always here. And he does have questions, a lot of times. He's always checking back with us. And the nice thing about the builder is that we have a minimum of 5 or 6 video feeds that he sends us daily. Okay, explaining, making sure, that he's doing the right thing, or that's how we want it. So we appreciate that. Okay, so there you go. The wood beams, the ceiling beams, are still being worked on. Okay, and man, I that's one thing that I do not envy those guys doing. While they're doing that, because I can only imagine how hard that's going to be, or is. But it's coming along. Okay, it is coming along. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to say was that if you notice now, all of the windows have been installed. Okay, I think you can tell that, especially when we go on the outside. They have been installed, and we're very happy with it. They look really good. Okay, so it's giving us a better idea on what it's going to look like in the end. And we don't have much time, on this project, because we do have a deadline. And the reason for that is, well, not only, financially, it's not, that's not the real point of it. It is that we don't want this project to linger. Okay, so I think we were fairly generous with our deadline. Okay, enough time to build. Okay, and it's looking like he just might meet those timings. Okay, there is the welder. Okay, put in the cover, installing the cover on where the water tank is. There you go. Remember that big blue thing that I showed you in previous videos? That's the one. So here you go. It's coming along. There is a lot of people working in this area, in this site at this point. Here's where the carport is going to be built. Okay, we're building. They now have the trench. Okay, and this is the corner right there. And then from here on a 90-degree, you're going to have the other one, which is going to end at one of the corners where the carport is going to be. Okay, so they're laying the rebar. Okay, first column is in place, so they're good to go. It is taking shape. It is coming nicely. Okay, here you go. Remember that everything is done by hand, right? Man, do we really appreciate this type of work, type of effort, because it's hard. It's hard. So there you go. Okay, this is the main area, house, okay, carport, and there you have it. Okay, so we'll come to that point again. We appreciate you tuning in to watch our videos. Okay, please stay tuned. We do have a lot more coming up, and the end is really in sight. Take good care and see you soon.